Hello, space fans. It's Greg Allison with Galactic Greg's coming to you live on the wee hours of the morning of New Year's. It is 1200 hours Central Standard Time, my friends. And we'll do a brief video this wee hours of the morning. We are celebrating New Year's across a few of my channels here. We're starting with Galactic Greg's and with the Swivelhead News. And now we're over here on, no, we're starting Green Graves. Now we're going to Galactic Graves. And I hope I haven't lost too many people. It took a few minutes to get logged in here. I've been having some issues now that I've had my computer back in the shop. It's making me go through a couple extra steps to log in when I'm switching accounts, and includes me having to re-enter my password and go to the phone and verify two-step and this, that, and the other. And I go, oh, yeah, what was my password? So many passwords, guys. All righty, Lizzie may be dizzy. Good to see you here. Cha-cha, Granny, new days. Arnold, let's see how this goes here. So where we're, oh, you know what? I think this is called, oh, I didn't change the name. Greg Allison Zoom meeting. I did not want to call this Greg Allison Zoom meeting. I forgot that. I got so frustrated with dealing with changing accounts and what it was making me sign in again. I forgot to, I'll have to go back and rename this after we get done. That's a terrible name for a video. Anyway, how are we doing? Number one, supposedly now. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you. And then Arnold, for number 10, your chicken number. Very good. So ham 37. It's a fishy, soggy white New Year's. Oh, soggy white New Year's. You can rain and snow, huh? Or melting snow. Captain Trips, how you doing? All righty, guys. Let's kind of go through some stuff here. We're at 23 in the room, not bad considering the late hour and my terrible name on this video. Yeah, I'll have to adjust that. That's horrible. Anyway, let's go and do a share. If I can get everything open right here, share screen. And we won't be so long here. We'll do some space topics, and here's a space topic for tonight. And many of you may know that SpaceX had won the initial contract for putting a lunar lander on the moon with Starship, a modified version of Starship. They don't need fins on the moon because it's not flying back in the atmosphere. This is a purely in-space vehicle. But our friend Bob Zubrin, who I've interviewed on this channel, says that this ship will not be able to land on the moon as is, at least initially. He says somebody's going to have to go in and put a concrete pad on the moon for this thing to land, which means something else would have to land on the moon first. Now, he proposes a solution being a subscale version of Starship or some other lander. The problem is that Starship produces so much thrust, he says it's going to blast all the regolith out and make a crater. It's going to land in a crater and being top heavy, it's going to tip over. That would be a very, very, very bad day. So it's a good thing that NASA now has a second money to fund a second contestant to do a lander, which is what they really wanted to do to start with, but their budget was cut and they weren't allowed to do it. So now Starship would be able to land a lot more cargo. It'd be an interesting vehicle, but a full-up Starship as a first lander might not be a good idea. It just might not be. Who knows? We'll see how that works out. Maybe it would work, but there are those like Bob Zubrin who thinks it wouldn't, and knowing the way the nature of the regolith and how much thrust this stuff blows out, and this thing being top heavy, I can definitely see the hazards. As a hazard system safety engineer, I would say, yeah, I see a lot of hazards here. And I mentioned the crew has to be hoisted down with a hoist elevator out of the door from the top to the bottom. That's a heck of a thing. Kind of reminds you of the old science fiction starships, though. You see craft like this in science fiction, maybe from the 50s. It's kind of like where we're finally catching up to the 50s, back to the future. Well, we do need the Starship. It's going to be vital for getting a lot of cargo up there. It's going to be the best vehicle for cargo. But yeah, it may be we have to use some other lander to start with. Who knows? Maybe the other lander will be small enough it'll be transported instead in the Space Launch System vehicle, Artemis vehicle initially. But eventually, you know, if they get these Starship, if Starship works and continues to work properly, who knows? It might kind of take all that over time. In any event, maybe less time. What is this? Not now. We've got a great picture of a galaxy here. I thought I'd share it. NGC 6956. That's a beautiful image there. All right, this was taken by the Hubble Space Telescope. It's still a very active telescope, still a good sensor platform, and doing great and wonderful science. It's not as powerful as a Webb, but Webb can't look at everything. So Hubble is still on the task. John Spirit said maybe Monday night we might get some Texas Panhandle. Okay. All righty. Let's go over here, guys. KYW. Sound like a well, what we're talking about here is discovering new Earth planets. They're talking about recent discovery of 2 new Earth-like planets. Well, the planets might be Earth-like in that they're about the size of Earth, and then the Goldilocks zone, the star, but the stars are going around with red dwarfs, and red dwarfs throw out enormous solar flares. Pretty regularly. So it'd be hard, in my humble opinion, for life to get established in a world like that. And we're not talking about the solar flares we're used to here on Earth. We're talking even in Carrington, we're talking stuff thousands, and that maybe tens or hundreds of thousands of times more powerful. Not to mention those planets would also be phase locked, where one side would always face their sun. That side would roast, the other side would be frozen, and you have horrendous winds going around between the hot side, raising up in the air, going around to the outside, falling down the cold side, and the surface wind from the windy surface to the hot side. Cool thing about that is you'd have a zone around the what wouldn't be equator. You'd have a termination line where it's always daylight and always dark. If you got cold wind blowing from the dark side, there would be an area that's always in the sunlight that would be cooler. So that's one good side, the eyeball planet kind of a scenario. But it would be a strange beast to be on these eyeball planets. But with all these stuff coming out of the sun, it'd be rough. Now they're finding planets that are apparently oceanic. Some recent finds say they got a couple of these planets have oceans like over 1,000 miles deep. Not 1,000 miles, maybe 1,000 feet. It might have been. I have to go back and double check that. I was thinking it's a few thousand feet deep. Our ocean's 5,000 foot deep in the deepest part. And if the entire world were crusted over and we hadn't lost part of our crust to help form the moon when we got a big impact, we'd not have plate tectonics. The whole world would be covered crust and would be underwater. How much? I don't know. That'd be about the same, about 1,000 feet. Think of a tornado on the eyeball planets. Exactly. Oh, yeah. You'd have 2 ginormous storms, one facing the star and one on the other side. The one facing the star is going to be upwelling, big tornado, huge winds. All that's going to be coming out, going all the way around, and then falling down on the other side, and like an anti-cyclone tornado, cold tornado. And it would bring some warmth to the other side, at least where it comes in, right there. And then the air would cool off as it rushes around the surface. But you would have no light on the other side. So that warmth wouldn't be much good unless it's, I don't know, a spot over the ocean, and the ocean's got hydrothermal vents underneath, so if that part of the ocean wouldn't freeze solid, maybe there'd be something there. I don't know, guys. A big line of tornado. Yeah, it'd be huge. It'd be a planetary sized tornado, 2 of them, one on each side. So the whole system would be dominated by that weather. I think the surface winds would be hundreds of miles an hour. Be kind of rough. Guys. I don't know how you live on an eyeball planet. Put sunshades in front of it. That's how. Calm the atmosphere down. Have to calm it down. That would totally wreck it if it had any systems developed to survive. That Dr. Walt Brown had a white paper and a book on hydroelectronics. All right, guys, let's look at a couple other things. China is hoping the rocket that can send people to the moon will be ready to launch by 2027. We're talking about a rocket for the 3-man crew here and a lander by 2027. This is a contractor rocket. See, they're working on some other rockets that will be competitive with SpaceX Starship. So this isn't the only rocket they got in their hopper. Don't think that for a minute. NASA is using SpaceX to rescue astronauts after Russia's space station leak. Well, it's actually leaked with Soyuz spacecraft on the space station. So the article didn't quite get it right, Mr. The Daily Beast, but maybe come close. So we had a Soyuz spacecraft sprung a leak. They believed due to probably micrometer wave damage, and it leaked out, all the cooling system, which would be a problem. So they've each side has been looking at games to get the astronauts back, be an extra Soyuz or a Dragon capsule from SpaceX. So both are being kicked around. I'm sure the Dragon ride would be a little more comfortable because it's got more space in it. Space and space. Speaking of that, guys, we should go to spaceweather.com and see what's going on in the world. Look at the sun first. Yeah, we got two good sized groups of solar sunspots. We talked about 3179 last time, about 3176 up here. And then we got this system. This looks like it's pretty good size, 3180 coming around. We'll have prospects to have some sunspots at some point here. Cosmic ray sink the 6-year low right here. Talked about that earlier. It's like a bird of some sort. The aurora is not as bright, no yellow in it yet. Could kick up. Coronal holes in the sun. All right, guys. Fireball. Left behind my comments. All right, we are now in the new year, so none of that December stuff matters anymore, unless you're on the left coast. You're in California, Washington State, you're still in 2022. So I'm talking to you from the future. Chewy Weather, are you in the house? He's in Oregon, I believe. So there's nothing on this chart that I see that looks like it poses a threat. Don't mean that one of these won't zip by and we discovered it after the fact. But I'm not seeing anything that really looks threatening here in terms of close approaches of asteroids. All right, guys. That's all the websites I was going to share for tonight. It's kind of late. I'm drinking this coffee. It's kind of kicking me good. You could power those eyeball planets with a Terminator ring. Well, I tell you what, you wouldn't be lacking for wind power, would you? Having the same issue with my fireplace pipe. Oh, all righty. Author said, finally made it. Good point, Jesse. Now, they're not terraforming yet. They would like to, but yeah. Did anybody ask the occupants if that was a cool idea? I think it's a good idea anyway. Once we got dome cities, at least all the gases are contained and they're not going to get away. Once you do the whole atmosphere, that stuff will be attrited over time by the solar wind. It'll strip it all away, just like Mars is stripped away today. Happen all over again. Prime rib and cognac, though. All right, guys. We're family here in my channels. And so just remember, pray for members of this family. New days. Pray for Randy Bly. He's been fighting cancer, and Granny Lana and her daughter. There was another lady in the other chat room. I can't remember the name right off the bat. You'll remember it. Say a prayer for her. Sorry, guys. I'm bushed, I'm beat, I'm fried. And I got some things to do before I go to bed. So I'm going to have to drink some more coffee. Keep this thing rolling a little bit. Can't go to bed quite yet. But my mother gets the squirrels, and if I stay the night over, can't stand them. Oh my gosh, I love eating squirrel. Anyway, guys, well, that I'm going to say thank you, Mike.